Hey everybody, this is Colin Quina with 3T Futures. Welcome to our uh, next little monthly installment of futures platform, futures and futures options platform. And today for this month's little video, I was going to go over vertical call spreads, bringing up vertical call spreads, kind of the strategy behind vertical actually doing when you're putting on a vertical call spread, and this is both going to be for debit spreads and credit spreads. So we'll go over the difference between those two and really make sure we're all on the same page here as far as call spreads go. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my option chain, and we're just going to stick with the S&P. We've been doing a lot with the S&P options here on these good spreads, these vertical call spreads. So we'll just stick with the S&P. Here, but first thing I'm gonna do is bring up my option chain. Guys, you got a quick little link to your icon right here. If you don't have it added to your quotes window already, go over here to your add or remove buttons. Little drop down here. Click on standard, and you can see here all the different options you have. The option chain, find option chain is down at the bottom. It looks like a little. The icon looks like a little chain link that you would find. But anyway, so once I have my option chain up here, the icon will be active up this way. I'm going to just click on that, and there are my options. Once you figure out what expiration you need, we'll just go ahead and do the end of month, end of week here, week fours. We can do that, or we can do just end of week, end of month here as well. But anyways, once you figure out which expiration you want, and again, we're just going to go on the calls side, so I'll just go ahead and just make sure we're only looking at the calls. That way we don't accidentally maybe get in a put. But anyways, you can see here our calls. Here's the in the money, and here's the out of the money. Okay, well here's the first thing. Here's the first thing that you wanted to figure out is: are we going to do a debit spread, or are we going to do a credit spread? Well, it all hinges on really what you're going to do with this first leg. Okay, it all hinges on what you do with the first leg. The more expensive legs, let's just go ahead and bring up. We'll go ahead and bring up the 70s. We're going to bring the 70s. I'm just going to left click here and then right click, bring up a dome. Bring up a dome, and let's bring that in here. So I've got my one leg. And then let's just do this. Let's do the 80s, the 70s and 80s again. Let's just bring up a dome. All right, now I've got my second leg up. Okay. So it all depends on what we're going to do with our first leg. Our more expensive leg, what we do, whether we buy it or sell it, determines whether we do a credit spread or a debit spread. Okay, so right here, I'm going to go ahead. Let's just go ahead and we'll do a debit spread here. So I'm going to buy the more expensive leg and sell the cheaper leg. So if I buy this here, buying at the market, making it 575, I'm going to sell the market here at 205. Okay, so I bought 575, which is really worth, if I do my multiplication and times it by my underlying point value system, that was worth $287.50. So I spent $287.50. Here, we sold at 205. So here, I've actually brought in some money. I brought on $102.05, $102.50. So the difference here between the $287.50 minus the $102.50 equals $185. So I was actually debited $185 because the leg that I bought, that I actually paid for, was more expensive than the leg that was credited to me, that I sold, that I wrote the premium for. So that's actually going to be a credit spread or debit spread of $185, or divide that by 50, 3.7. So that was my spread price right there. 3.7 is my spread price, 370, and that's just taking the 575 minus the 205. My spread price was at 370. Okay, so again, we paid for this. This was a debit spread. It came out of our pocket, $185, right? So your strategy here in this, since it was a debit spread, we want this market to go up. Okay, This market, we got these legs right here. The 2070s and 2080s are currently out of the money. Okay, they're out of the money. We want this market to go up where these become in the money. Okay, the ultimate strategy here, the ultimate goal, is for the market to rally. By the time our expiration comes through, we want this market to rally. We want both of these legs to end up in the money. Okay, if they end up in the money, the spread will become more expensive, or the spread price will widen. Okay, it will widen. It will become greater as these two legs, as the prices diverge or go away from each other. The spread will widen, become more expensive because these individual legs are going from out of the money to in the money. So that's your strategy that you want to do there. You want these to go in the money, or at least you want the market to go higher to make the spread, because as the market goes higher, the spread will actually widen and make the spread more expensive. Okay, so that's going to be your debit spread, or yeah, it's going to be your debit spread. Okay, we bought the more expensive leg, and we sold the cheaper leg for an overall debit of $185 in this example here. Okay, so now let's just let's clear everything here. Let's clear everything here, and I'm going to go to a different set of strikes here. So let's just go back, and I'm going to actually come in here in the money on these ones. Okay, for our debits, for our credit spread example, I'm going to come here in the money because that's really what you want to do with a credit spread. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the 2050s. We'll do the 2050s and the 2060s. All right. There's my 2050s, and we'll go ahead and bring up the 2060s as well. Let this dome come up. All right, there we go. There we go. All right, so now again, just looking at it, same thing. These are now in the money. But what I'm going to do now for my credit spread, now I'm going to sell this more expensive leg. I'm going to sell the 2050s. So let's just go here and I'm just going to sell the market. Again, I was able to sell it here at 19. You see down here, I was able to sell it at 19. So that's really worth 19 times 50, my point value indicator. $950 is what we were credited. Okay, we were credited $950. Now let's go over here and we'll buy the cheaper side. We'll buy the less expensive side, and we got that at 12.25. Okay, so that's going to be worth, if I do my math here, that's going to be worth $625. All right. So since we sold the more expensive side, we were credited more than we were debited, to the tune of, let's see, 950 minus 625, $325 is what we were credited, or 6.5 points. So that's what our spread was. Our spread was 6.5. Okay, or $325. That's how much we were credited. That's how much we brought in. Okay. Now, whereas we wanted our debit spread, we wanted that to go up, and we wanted the spread to widen. Well, here we want these legs to come from in the money to out of the money. Okay, we want them to come from more expensive. We want them to come higher, which, like I said, the spread price here was 6.5. Okay, we want that to come from 6.5. We want the market to come lower. We want these in the money call options to come out of the money. Okay, and expire worthless. Okay, so what the main goal here is to keep, okay, what you were credited. All right, here we were credited $325. We want to hold on to as much as that as possible. Okay, and the only way we can do that is hold on to all that full profit, the $325, is if the market comes down, the market sells off, and these two legs expire out of the money or worthless. You want them to expire worthless. They expire worthless. You keep all the $325 that you were credited, and that is the strategy. That is the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal obviously is for the market to come down, or for the spread to narrow. As the market goes up, the spread widens. When it comes down, it narrows, because they're both on their way to zero, or expiring worthless when they get out of the money. So, but that is the strategy. Again, credit spreads. The market's going to come down. You're going to maybe come from out of the money legs, or your legs coming from in the money to out of the money. and then just the opposite for the debit spread. Generally, do the spread from out of the money to hoping they come in the money, expire in the money to get your full profits. On the debit spread, if it does come in the full profits, well, you're going to be in the money. You're going to be exercised on both of your legs, which will then automatically cancel each other out, and you'll be profitable in a futures position for however big the spread was. In this case, it was 10 points. If they expired out of the money, you get 500. 500 minus 185 is 315. You would make $315 on that trade had you had the market gone in your favor, gone up, and expired out of the money. Excuse me, expired in the money. So, but anyways, that's a little rundown on credit and debit spreads there. Really, just remember, it all hinges upon what you're doing with the more expensive leg. If you're buying the more expensive leg, it's going to be a debit spread. If you're selling the more expensive leg, it's going to be a credit spread. And again, for a debit spread, we want the market to go up. We want the legs to expire. We want the option to expire in the money. And with your credit spread, we want the opposite. We want the market to go down, and we want the legs of the spread to expire worthless. So anyways, thanks for tuning in, and we will be back next month with another installment of continuing education on the 3T Trader platform. Thanks, guys. Take care.